Hi, my name is Buck. My pronouns are V, verb, is, or they, them, theirs, and I'm a first-year student at the Graduate School of Library and Information Science. And I'm going to read the beginning of The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. The House on Mango Street. We didn't always live on Mango Street. Before that we lived on Loomis on the 3rd floor, and before that we lived on Keeler. Before Keeler it was Palomino, and before that I can't remember. But what I remember most is moving a lot. Each time it seemed there'd be one more of us. By the time we got to Mango Street we were 6. Mama, Papa, Carlos, Kiki, my sister Nenny, and me. The house on Mango Street is ours, and we don't have to pay rent to anybody, or share the yard with the people downstairs, or be careful not to make too much noise, and there isn't a landlord banging on the ceiling. But even so, it's not the house we thought we'd get to. We had to leave the flat when it was thick. The water pipes broke, the landlord wouldn't fix them because the house was too old. We had to leave fast. We were using the washer next door and carrying water from the empty milk gallons. That's why Mama and Papa looked for a house. And that's why we moved to the house on Mango Street, far away on the other side of town. They always told us that one day we would move to a house, like a real house, that would be ours for always, so we wouldn't have to move each year. And our house would have running water and pipes that worked, and inside it would have real stairs, not hallway stairs, but stairs inside like houses on TV. We'd have a basement and at least 3 washrooms, so when we took a bath we wouldn't have to tell everybody. Our house would be white with trees around it, a great big yard, and grass growing without a fence. This was the house Papa talks about when he held a lottery ticket. And this was the house Mama dreamed up in the stories she told us before we went to bed. The house on Mango Street is not the way they told it at all. It's small and red, with tight steps in front, and windows so small you'd think they were holding their breath. Bricks are crumbling in places, and the front door is so swollen you have to push hard to get in. There's no front yard, only 4 little elms to stay planted by the curb. Out back is a small garage for the car we don't own yet, and a small yard that looks smaller between the 2 buildings on either side. There are stairs in our house, but they're ordinary hallway stairs. The house is only 1 washroom. Everybody has to share a bedroom. Mama and Papa, Carlos and Kiki, me and Nenny. Once, when we were living on Loomis, a nun from my school passed by and saw me playing out front. The laundromat downstairs had been boarded up because it had been robbed 2 days before, and the owner had painted on the wood, "Yes, we're open," so as not to lose business. "Where do you live?" she asked. "There," I said, pointing up to the 3rd floor. "You live there?" "There." I had to look to where she pointed, the 3rd floor. The paint peeling, wooden bars Papa had nailed on the windows so we wouldn't fall out. "You live there?" The way she said it made me feel like nothing. "There. I live there." I nodded. I knew then I had to have a house, a real house, one I could point to. But this isn't it. The house on Mango Street isn't it. For the time being, Mama says. Temporary, says Papa. But I know how these things go. Hairs. Everybody in our family has different hair. My papa's hair is like a boom, all up in the air. And me, my hair is lazy. It never obeys barrettes or bands. Carlos's hair is thick and straight. He doesn't need to comb it. Nenny's hair is slippery, slides out of your hand. And Kiki, who's the youngest, has hair like fur. But my mother's hair, like little rosettes, like little candy circles all curly and pretty because she pinned it in pin curls all day. Sweet to put your nose into when she's holding you and you feel safe. Is the warm smell of bread before you bake it. Is the smell when she makes room for you on her side of the bed, still warm with her skin, and you sleep near her, the rain outside falling and Papa snoring. The snoring, the rain, and Mama's hair that smells like bread.
My name is M. Claire Knowles, and I'm participating in the Simmons, SLIS, Beatley Library, and Lissa's Band Book Suite in Boston at Simmons College. And I'm reading a chapter from the absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian, a novel by SHERMAN, ALEXIE. Go means go. After Mr. P left, I sat on the porch for a long time and thought about my life. What the heck was I supposed to do? I felt like life had just knocked me on my ass. I was so happy when Mom and Dad got home from work. "Hey, little man," Dad said. "Hey, Dad." Mom. "Junior, why are you looking so sad?" Mom asked. She knew stuff. I didn't know how to start, so I just started with the biggest question. "Who has the most hope?" he asked. Mom and Dad looked at each other. They studied each other's eyes, like they had antennas. and were sending radio signals to each other. And then they both looked back at me. Come on, I said. Who has the most hope? White people, my parents said at the same time. That's exactly what I thought they were going to say. So I said, the most surprising thing they'd ever heard from me. I want to transfer schools, I said. You want to go to Hunter's? Mom said. It's another school on the west end of the reservation, filled with poor Indians and poor white kids. Yes, that is a place in the world where the white people are poorer than the Indians. No, I said. You want to go to Springdale, Dad asked? It's a school on the reservation border filled with the poorest Indians and poorer than poorest white kids. Yes, there is a place in the world where the white people are even poorer than you ever thought possible. I want to go to Reardon, I said. Reardon is the rich white farm town that sits in the wheat fields exactly 22 miles away from the res. And it's a hick town, I suppose, filled with farmers and rednecks and racist cops who stop every Indian that drives through. During week 1, when I was little, Dad got stopped 3 times for DWI, driving while Indian. But Reardon has one of the best small schools in the state with a computer room and huge chemistry lab and a drama club and 2 basketball gyms. The kids at Reardon are the smartest and the most athletic kids anywhere. They are the best. I want to go to Reardon, I said again. I couldn't believe I was saying it. For me, it seemed as real as saying I wanted to go to the moon. Are you sure? My parents asked. Yeah, I said. Where do you want to go? My parents asked. Right now. I want to go tomorrow. Are you sure? My parents asked. You could maybe wait until the semester break or even until next year. Get a fresh start. No, if I don't go now, I never will. I have to go now. Okay, they said. Yep, it was that easy with my parents. It was almost as they'd been waiting for me to ask them if I could go to Reardon, like they were psychics or something. I mean, there's always known that I'm weird and ambitious, so maybe they expect me to be the weirdest things, expect me to do the weirdest things possible. And going to Reardon is truly a strange thing, but it isn't weird that my parents have quickly agreed with my plans. They want a better life for my sister and me. My sister's running away to get lost, and I'm running away because I want to find something. And my parents love me so much that they want to help me. Yeah, Dad is a drunk. Mom is an ex-drunk. But they don't want their kids to be drunks. It's going to be hard to get you to Reardon, Dad said. We can't afford to move there. And there ain't no school bus going to come here. You'll be the first one to ever leave the res this way, Mom said. The Indians always around here are going to be angry with you. Shoot, I figured that my fellow tribal members are going to be torture me.
I'm Molly, and I'm going to be reading from Angus Thom's Full Frontal Stop.
Yeah, speak.
10:30 a.m. La 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 la. Life is so fab. La la la. I even managed to put mascara on without sticking the brush in my eye. Also, I tried out my new lip liner, and I think the effect definitely makes my nose look smaller. In a rare moment, I shared my nose anxiety with Mom. She said, we used to use shaders, you know, light highlights and darker bits to create shadow. You could put a light line of foundation down the middle, and then darker bits at the side to sort of narrow it down. Wrong answer, Mom. The correct answer is, you are gorgeous, Georgia, and there is nothing wrong with your nose. I didn't say that. I didn't give her the satisfaction. Instead, I said, through some toast so I could deny it if I had to. Mom, I don't want to look like you and your friends did. I've seen the photos, and no one wants to look like Alba anymore. 11:30 a.m. Mrs. Next Door complained about Angus again. He's been frightening their poodle. She said Angus stalks it. I explained, well, he's a Scottish wildcat. That's what they do. They stalk their prey. She said, I don't really think it should be a household pet in that case. I said, he's not a household pet, believe me. I have tried to train him, but he ate his food. There's only so much you can do with Angus. Honestly, is it really my job to deal with hysterical neighbors? Why doesn't she get a bigger dog? The stupid yappy thing annoys Angus. 1 o'clock p.m. I better be nice though, otherwise I'll be accused of being a moody teenager, and the next thing you know, it will be tap, tap, tap on my door, and Mom saying, "Is there anything you want to talk about?" Adults are so nosy. 1:30 p.m. Went next door and asked Mrs. Fussy Knickers if she wanted anything from the shops as I was going. She sort of hid behind the door. I must be nicer. I start out being nice and then it's like someone else takes over. Am I schizophrenic as well as a lesbian?
My name is Rich Nicolosi, and this is the house on Mango Street. Marin. Marin's boyfriend is in Puerto Rico. She shows us his letters and makes us promise not to tell anybody they're getting married when she goes back to PR. She says he didn't get a job yet, but she's saving the money she gets from selling Avon and taking care of her cousins. Marin says that if she stays here next year, she's going to get a real job downtown because that's where the best jobs are. Since you always get to look beautiful and get to wear nice clothes and can meet someone in the subway who might marry you and take you to live in a big house far away. But next year, Louie's parents are going to send her back to her mother with a letter saying she's too much trouble. And that is too bad because I like Marin. She is older and knows a lot of things. She's the one who told us how Davy the baby's sister got pregnant and what cream is best for taking off mustache hair, and if you count the white flecks on your fingernails, you can know how many boys are thinking of you, and lots of other things I can't remember now. We never see Marin until her aunt comes home from work, and even then she can only stay out in front. She's there every night with the radio. When the light in her aunt's room goes out, Marin lights a cigarette, and it doesn't matter if it's cold out or if the radio doesn't work, or if we've got nothing to say to each other. What matters, Marin says, is for the boys to see us and for us to see them. And since Marin's skirts are shorter, and since her eyes are pretty, and since Marin is already older than us in many ways, the boys who do pass say stupid things like, "I am in love with those 2 green apples you call eyes. Give them to me, why don't you?" And Marin just looks at them without even blinking and is not afraid. Marin, under the streetlight, dancing by herself, is singing the same song somewhere. I know. Is waiting for a car to stop, a star to fall, someone to change her life.
My name is Candy Schwartz, and I'm on the faculty of the School of Library and Information Science, and I'm going to read something from Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, written between 1387 and 1400. I'm going to read the first part, which introduces the scene, and then I'm going to read his description of the wife of Bath, who is probably mostly why this book was banned, since it has a lot of very ribald tales in it. When in April the sweet showers fall, the pierced marches drought to the root and all, and bathed every vein in liquor that has power to generate therein and sire the flower. When Zephyr also has with his sweet breath filled again in every holt and heath the tender shoots and leaves, and the young sun, his half-course in the sign of the ram has run, and many little birds make melody that sleep through all the night with open eye, so nature pricks them on to rampant rage. Then folk do long to go on pilgrimage, and palmers to go seeking out strange strands to distant shrines well known in distant lands, and specially from every shire's end of England. They to Canterbury went, the holy blessed martyr there to seek, who helped them when they lay so ill and weak. It happened that, in that season, on a day in Southwark, at the Tabard, as I lay, ready to go on pilgrimage, and start to Canterbury, full devout at heart, there came at nightfall to that hostelry some 29 in a company of sundry persons, who had chanced to fall in fellowship, and pilgrims were they all, that toward Canterbury town would ride. The rooms and stables spacious were and wide, and well we there were eased, and of the best. And briefly, when the sun had gone to rest, so had I spoken with them every one, that I was of their fellowship anon, and made agreement that we'd early rise to take the road, as I will to you apprise. But nonetheless, whilst I have time and space, before yet further in this tale I pace, it seems to me, in accord with reason, to describe to you the state of every one, of each of them, as it appeared to me, and who they were, and what was their degree, and even what clothes they were dressed in, and with the knight thus will I first begin. Now the knight is not the part I'm going to read. I'm going to read his description of the wife of Bath. There was a wife of Bath, or a near city, who was somewhat deaf, it is a pity. At making clothes she had a skillful hand, she bettered those of Ypres and of Ghent. In all the parish there was no wife to go and precede her in offering, it is so. And if one did indeed, so angry was she, it put her out all her charity. Her headdresses were of finest weaven ground, I dare swear they weighed about 10 pound, which on a Sunday she wore on her head. Her stockings were of the finest scarlet red, tightly fastened, and her shoes were soft and new. Bold was her face, and fair, and red of hue. She'd been respectable throughout her life, married in church, husband she had 5, not counting other company and youth. But thereof there's no need to speak, in truth. 3 times she'd traveled to Jerusalem, and many a foreign stream she'd had to stem. At Rome she'd been, and she'd been in Boulogne, in Spain at Santiago, and at Cologne. She could tell much of wandering by the way. Gapped tooth was she, it is the truth I say. Upon a pacing horse, easily she sat, wearing a large wimple, and over all, a hat as broad as is a buckler or a targe. An overskirt was tucked around her buttocks large, and her feet spurred sharply under that. In company well could she laugh and chat. The remedies of love she knew perchance, for of that art she'd learned the old dance.
Ever since I realized there was someone called a colored girl, an even evil woman, a bitch, or a nag, I've been trying not to be that and leave bitterness in somebody else's cup. Come to somebody to love me without deep and nasty smelling skull from lie or being left screaming in a street full of lunatics. Whispering, slut, bitch, nigger. Get out of here with all that. I didn't have any of that for you. I brought you what joy I found, and I found joy. Honest fingers round my face, with dead musicians on 78s from Cuba, or live musicians on $5 LPs from Chicago, where I had never been. And I loved Willie Coleman and Arsino Rodriguez, especially because I can make the music loud enough so there is no me but dance. And when I can dance like that, there's nothing can hurt me. But I get tired and I have to come off of the floor. And then there's that woman who hurt you, who you left 3 or 4 times, and just went back after you put my heart in the bottom of your shoe. You just walked back to where you hurt, and I didn't have nothing. So I went to where somebody had something for me, but he wasn't you. And I was on the way back from her house in the bottom of your shoe. So this is not a love movie, because there are only memorial albums available. And even Charlie Mingus wanted desperately to be a band, and I won't be able to see Eddie Palmer for months. So this is a requiem for myself, because I have died in a real way. Not with aqua coffins and doo-wop Cadillacs I used to joke about when I was messing around, but a real dead lovin' is here for you now, because I don't know anymore how to avoid my own face wet with my tears, because I had convinced myself colored girls had no right to sorrow. And I lived and loved that way and kept sorrow on the curb, allegedly for you, but I know I did it for myself. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being sorry and colored at the same time. So it's redundant in the modern world. I've lost it. Touch with reality. I don't know who's doing it. I thought I was, but I was so stupid. I was able to be hurt, and that's not real. Not anymore. I should be immune if I'm still alive, and that's what I was discussing. How am I still alive? And my dependency on other beings for love. I survive on intimacy and tomorrow. That's all I've got going. And the music was like smack. You knew about that and still refused. My dance was not enough, and it was all I had, but being alive and being a woman and being colored is a metaphysical dilemma I hadn't conquered yet. Do you see the point? My spirit is too ancient to understand the separation of soul and gender. My love is too delicate to have thrown back on my face.